Now on CoastTV News.
The rain is moving out and the cold is moving in. We dried out today with chilly and windy conditions. Protect your plants tonight. We have a freeze warning in effect into Wednesday morning. Details coming up.
Will Parker Selby show? That is the question about the Milton State Rep as the Delaware General Assembly holds several hearings today in Dover.
Dollars for Dewey, the amount of money the Sussex County Council could contribute to build the new Dewey Beach Town Hall.
Florida finish.
Florida is back on top of the college basketball world.
The Gators rally to win the national championship.
This is CoastTV News Today.
It is Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us for our 5 o'clock hour.
Let the drought begin, Elisa. Yeah. Boy, what a bunch of rain we had yesterday.
I know, it was like a sleepy Monday. I had trouble waking up, I think, because it was so gloomy outside. What about you?
Every time I looked out, it was just the downpour.
I know, midway through the day in our station, it was so dark outside. I was like, Bob, where is the sun? What is going on? But Bob, today the story is it's going to get really cold.
Yep. The rain is moving out and the cold is moving in. Good morning, Elisa and Matt. And boy, that was a soaking rain, relentless. And it even continued into early this morning. We picked up about 1 to 2 inches of rain. And behind the rain, we're seeing a little bit of fog. 4 miles in fog at Georgetown, 6 miles in Salisbury and Ocean City. Not too bad, but watch for limited visibility, wet roads and large puddles. Still clouds and maybe a little spotty drizzle out there. Otherwise, we're starting a drying trend as the rain is moving offshore. And here comes a strong cold front. That's a leading edge to, well, cold air and wind. We're already seeing lake effect snow in Cleveland, Pennsylvania, and New York. So this cold air means business as it will be moving in as we have cold Arctic high pressure across the northern plains. And then that could set us up for a freeze as we go through the overnight hours. Right now, we're looking at temperatures in the low to mid 40s, not rising too much. And the winds aren't strong now, but they're really going to ramp up later on. So Futurecast has the clouds clearing out this morning, the winds ramping up. For a time, we could dip into the 30s, and then we're into the 40s today. Lots of sunshine, but it's going to be windy and cold by afternoon, only into the upper 40s, maybe only mid 40s at the coast, and feeling much colder with the wind. Your day part forecast has the rain finally ending. Still a lingering shower this morning, and then windy and much colder. More on the cold, the freeze warning for tomorrow morning, and more rain chances by the end of the week into the weekend. My full forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Bob. We're going live now to Delaware's capital city of Dover. The General Assembly will be in session today with a full slate of committee hearings and meetings, 5 set to take place in the House of Representatives. The question in our top story this morning, will District 20 Representative Democrat Stell Parker Selby be in attendance? So far this year, she has not. Even though this session of the General Assembly started in January, we were told Parker Selby was only sworn in weeks ago, and it has created a controversy. District 20, which covers Milton and parts of Lewis, has not had representation on votes in the House this year. In March, the Delaware Republican Party sent a letter to House Democratic leaders to address Parker Selby's absence.
24, Parker Selby was reelected to the House for a second term, and here's what we know about her situation. Parker Selby sent a letter stating she would not be present at Legislative Hall due to a medical event. Over 90 pieces of legislation have been voted on in the House in 2025. Parker Selby has not voted on any of them.
Developing news in Dewey Beach, as CoastTV has been reporting, the town is constructing a new town hall. And now there could be changes in the amount of the Sussex County government's contribution to help pay for it. In a memorandum of understanding expected to be reviewed at today's council meeting, the county will give $1.5 million towards the town hall. Earlier discussions had that figure at an even $1 million. And here's why the county is contributing that amount for a project estimated to cost over $11 million. The new town hall will also be a home to the Sussex Emergency Medical Service. County officials say the lease agreement lasts for 30 years and includes 3 designated parking spaces.
Lewis is considering preparation for future damage from storms. Officials will continue to discuss a possible resiliency fund after a public hearing Monday night. The goal of the potential fund is to finance projects like flood control, stormwater management, and environmental restoration. The city is looking to reach $3 to $5 million in the next 5 to 7 years for the fund if passed by council. Last night's public hearing was one step closer to the fund potentially passing. and the public writing comment period is open until May 2nd at 4 p.m. City Council has not set a date yet of when the fund will be discussed again.
And south of Lewis, Fenwick Island, also considering a resiliency fund. It's on the agenda of this morning's Infrastructure Committee meeting. Fenwick Island's no stranger to weather-related issues. Last month, the construction of berms to control and manage stormwater runoff was reviewed. How to pay for these solutions, that's the big item that will be debated this morning.
Happening today, Ocean View could vote on its budget for fiscal year 2026, according to the agenda. Officials will present a first reading of the budget at this afternoon's Town Council meeting. The town says it expects over $6 million in operating expenses. This and more will be discussed at 3 p.m.
New this morning, we're expecting to learn more about a key business addition in Seaford. According to the agenda of the City Council meeting, a new tenant is expected to be revealed for the Nylon Shopping Center. This will be a joint announcement with Mayor Matt McCoy and Rob Herrera with 9th Street Development. Also, the city says it's holding its municipal election on April 19th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the two candidates are running for council are Jose Santos and current member Orlando Holland.
Back on top of the college basketball world.
Yeah, what a wild game last night. The Florida Gators defeat Houston to claim the NCAA men's basketball championship. Florida erased a 12-point deficit in the second half to rally and win the third title in program history. And we'll have more on the championship game later on Coast TV News Today.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. After another troubling day on Wall Street, President Trump remains steadfast on his plan to raise tariffs on nearly every product imported into the U.S. The president is now threatening even harsher tariffs on China if that country doesn't back down in the escalating trade war.
Also, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu became the first world leader to come to the White House seeking tariff relief. NBC's Alice Barr shows us all this as new tariffs are set to take effect Wednesday.
This morning, growing fallout to President Trump's sweeping tariffs, from wild stock market swings to top business leaders sounding the alarm, including billionaire Trump backer Bill Ackman, warning of a potential self-induced economic nuclear winter and calling for a pause.
We're not looking at that. We have many countries that are coming to negotiate deals with us, and they're going to be fair deals.
President Trump adamant it's worth the pain to restore U.S. manufacturing and reshape global trade, meeting with Israel's prime minister, who promised to serve as a model.
We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats highlighting the instability and rising consumer prices, calling the tariffs
a tax on the American people.
As many Republicans stand by President Trump,
I think you got to give the president the latitude.
Some are voicing concerns about the effects of high tariffs and a prolonged and widespread trade war.
That is going to be really bad for Texas and really bad for America.
Republicans are celebrating a Supreme Court ruling, throwing out a lower judge's order that blocked the Trump administration from deporting migrants under the rarely used Wartime Alien Enemies Act. However, the justices ruled 5-4 that migrants must first be given due process, something immigration law experts say has been sorely lacking.
Offering absolutely no chance for people to go before any kind of decision maker and say, hey, you got the wrong guy.
The High Court also paused a separate order to return a man wrongly deported to an El Salvador prison. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News Today.
Coming up, DSU seeks state funding, the price tag for new construction plans at the university.
Also hearing for debated development, we'll tell you how one project seems to be moving forward amid pushback from one local community group.
And Boeing crash suit settled. Even with that, why the company's worries are not over yet. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
The rain is winding down on this Tuesday morning. Bay Health, Cam and Dover 43, maybe a touch of fog there. 4 miles visibility around Georgetown, and there are some areas of thicker fog east of Georgetown. Salisbury and Ocean City, not too bad right now, but use the low beam headlights. There's lots of wet roads and large puddles. We have temperatures in the low 40s, could drop into the 30s for a time as a cold front is moving through. We're seeing a few light sprinkles still, but the heavy rain has moved offshore, and the cold front will be sweeping in as we go through the morning hours, and then that will bring in drier air. But until then, watch for fog and wet roads. Morning commute, I gave it the yellow light, and big puddles too. And then windy and chilly for the PM commute. Winds gusting over 40 miles per hour at times.
Bob, Milton drivers, more traffic is expected at Route 1 and 16. Happening today, there will be daytime lane closures. This is regarding the Milton Overpass project, which we've covered before. The project is expected to cost $23 million, and construction has been underway for over a year.
In Delaware, a report from the Affordable Housing Production Task Force has 9 key recommendations designed to increase options. Task force was formed in 2024. They're looking to find solutions for lower and middle income households. Here are some of the recommendations: more government money, reforming zoning laws, making the approval process easier, and providing incentives to developers. The bipartisan group includes state officials and housing experts, and that full report is available online at CoastTV.com.
A settlement was reached on Sunday on the eve of a civil trial against Boeing for 2 of the families of passengers killed in 2019 in the 737 MAX crash. That's according to a release by the plaintiff's lawyers. Jury selection was set to start Monday morning. More civil trials for other family members are scheduled.
The CEO of Spirit Airlines stepping down. Ted Christie's resignation comes after the budget airline filed for bankruptcy late last year. The airline's board of directors is in the process of finding a replacement, and in the meantime, the company says it is creating what it calls an office of the president.
We are seeing some areas of fog out there this morning, like on the Spice Brothers Camp, Salisbury. So take it easy, take it slow. Large puddles, wet roads. The rain is moving out, and the cold air will be moving in later today. And there's wind with this as well today. And protect your plans tonight. We're looking at freeze warnings and a freeze into Wednesday morning. I'll have your full forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
Time is 5:16, and we're getting a live look at a damp morning in Dover. A windy Tuesday in store for us, Bob.
It is, and boy, what a soaking we had yesterday. Everything was just nice and wet. Now, that's good as far as the dry conditions go. Not good for driving, so watch for the puddles and some fog this morning. Then it gets breezy today, and it's going to dry things out quickly. We're going to see gusts over 35 miles per hour, and it's cold as well. And then as we go into tonight and tomorrow morning, we have a freeze warning away from the coast, with temperatures dipping into the 20s and 30s. So protect your plants. And what a soaking we had. 1.72 inches of rain in Stockley, Dagsboro, 1.5 inches, Slaughter Beach and Delmarva, 1.46 inches, 1.4 in Lewis and Georgetown, over 1.3 inches of rain. And it was an extended soaker out there. And we have a little fog lingering 4 miles in Georgetown, so use the low beam headlights. Visibility a little better in Salisbury and Ocean City. And temperatures right now in the low 40s, 43 in Delmarva, Georgetown, 43 in Salisbury. As the cold front sweeps through, we can actually see those temperatures dipping into the 30s before they rebound back into the 40s. And right now the winds are pretty light out of the northwest, but they'll be revving up once this cold front moves through a little bit later on. Still have the clouds, maybe a touch of drizzle, a light shower possible, but the steady rain is gone. And there's that front now moving into the D.C. area, and that will plow to the southeast today with the much colder air building in behind it. And look at the lake effect snow, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York, just showing us how cold this air mass is. And the center of that high is over the northern plains. And as that moves over us tomorrow morning, we will have that chance of a freeze. Here is Futurecast this morning. Temperatures dipping into the 30s and then only rebounding into the upper 40s this afternoon. And with these strong winds, feeling like 30s at times. Then the winds start to relax tonight. Do they go totally calm? Well, that's the big question. question. If they do, it'll really bottom out those temperatures into the 20s and low 30s. Right now, we're thinking 29 in Georgetown tomorrow morning, 30 in Millsboro, 31 in Selbyville. That's why you have to protect your plants. Even at the coast, we do have a chance of seeing freezing temperatures. And then tomorrow, sunshine and still cold with temperatures in the 40s and 50s for highs, and then could be frosty again as we go into Thursday morning. But those winds revving up over 30 miles per hour today, maybe gusting to about 40, and then those winds relax as we go through the overnight. And we do have a freeze warning across Sussex County, including Seaford, Georgetown, and Frankfort, and then down into Maryland as well, and the eastern shore. That freeze warning goes into tomorrow morning. You see the long icicle indicating the hard freeze that we're expecting tomorrow morning. So we can't stress enough. Cover the plants or bring them in. And still a frost as we go into Thursday morning. Then we're out of the woods, so to speak, after that as far as freezing temperatures. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. We're looking at the windy conditions today, 48 degrees, and then down to 29 tomorrow morning, maybe 52 Wednesday, but a lot of us not getting out of the 40s probably. And then 57 Thursday. Rain builds in later Thursday into Friday, 60 on Friday with rain showers. Over the weekend, I think we'll see a storm developing offshore, and that could bring us some showers on Saturday for the start of Passover, kind of wet, 58. Palm Sunday, I think it dries out, 57, and then mild and drier as we head into Monday. Congratulations to Marilyn White from Dagsboro on winning a brand new umbrella from Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Thank you, Bob. We have an update on a story that we've been covering out of Milton, and after several months of limited access, Cool Spring Crossing development, a plan that includes over 1,200 single-family lots at the intersection of Route 9 and Cool Spring Road, appears to be on track for a public hearing in Sussex County.
It has the attention of the Sussex Preservation Coalition. That organization has listed hearing documents on its website ahead of their meeting tonight in Lewis. The coalition claims the number of people moving into this new development would be a strain on local health care and educational systems.
When we covered the story last year, we spoke to people living in the area about their concerns, and here is what one person told us.
I think you can't stop growth. I think as long as the planners, the engineers do this properly, that we can all benefit.
Last December, we received this response from the marketing firm working with Cool Spring Crossings developer Carl M. Freeman Companies. Quote, "Our team is committed to the environmental stewardship, traffic management, and promoting inclusive housing options." According to the county documents posted on the coalition website about the conditional use ordinance, the public hearing is scheduled for May 7th.
New this morning in Georgetown, you can drop off unused or expired drugs later this month. The police department says these medications are a public safety issue and it is an official drop-off site. On April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., people can stop by the department and give up those medications.
Still ahead, DSU state funding will tell you why the university says help from the state government is long overdue. Stay with us on Coast TV News today. This just in, parents at the Cape Henlopen School District can learn more about special education services. According to the district, there is an update from the Division of Developmental Disability Services. This takes place at the monthly Special Education Parent Council meeting. The council will detail what services are available to families, and that meeting is set for April 16th at the Lewis Elementary School at 6 p.m.
Delaware State University is hoping to score big as the state's 2026 fiscal year budget begins to take shape. The university is asking the state for $125 million for athletic upgrades and an additional $10 million for operational costs. This three-part plan includes a $25 million indoor field house, $10 million for the stadium and downtown facility upgrades, and a $90 million convocation center.
These athletic facilities that we're going to upgrade and we're going to build will have a tremendous economic impact on Dover and Kent County and Sussex County.
DSU says this project is long overdue, especially given the university's significant growth over the past 5 years. Matt, I feel like I'm stating the obvious today, but it's not beach weather. How are you doing? You do not like the cold. I want to check in and make sure you're okay.
I can tolerate the cold.
Okay.
I just don't prefer it.
You don't prefer it, but last week you were so happy.
I know. I was grilling. Life was grand.
You were grilling. Gosh.
Bob, at least we don't have rain today. That's the positive.
True.
No, and the sun will return. Stay in the sun and out of the wind. That's the key. But it's going to be windy. We have a gale warning, Atlantic Ocean, Delaware Bay, inland bays. There's that freeze warning away from the coast for the overnight. Moderate UV index today. The winds ramping up Fenwick Island and Ocean City. We're into the mid to upper 40s, but with that wind feeling colder. And then it's going to be a cold ferry ride up to Cape May from Lewis. Temperatures only in the upper 40s and upper 40s in Rehoboth, and a lot of wind. On the Bayside, 1 to 2 foot waves, upper 40s in Cambridge. Crisfield, upper 40s, close to 50. Those winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour. Then we have that freeze potential tonight into tomorrow morning. More on that and the rest of your work week forecast coming up in the next half hour.
Break on CoastTV News today. Lewis takes tax comments. We'll tell you what you need to know about the impacts of a proposed rental tax in the city.
Also, increased Dewey contribution. Why Sussex County is agreeing to pay for over $1 million for the construction of the Dewey Beach Town Hall.
And absence concerns as session starts. We'll tell you what you need to know so far about Stell Parker Selby's absence as lawmakers will return to Dover today. CoastTV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
The rain is moving out and the cold is moving in. We dried out today with chilly and windy conditions. Protect your plants tonight. We have a freeze warning in effect into Wednesday morning. Details coming up.
Waiting for representation. Will Delaware District 20 Stell Parker Selby take her seat for the first time in this session of the General Assembly?
Taxes target tourists. We have the reaction from Monday night's public hearing in Lewis over a plan to add a new lodging tax.
Ambulance fee increase. That is what is in Millville's budget proposal. Why town officials say the cost for emergency services is going up.
This is Coast TV News Today.
April 8th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick. Good morning, Elisa.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Time is 5:30. Baseball, big day today. Shorebirds home opener tonight in Salisbury. We're going to have more on that in a moment.
If you're going to that game, you need to wear a lot of layers.
Bundle up. I've heard that phrase before.
Bundle up. I've heard that phrase from someone in particular. I think his name is First Serve Meteorologist Bob Trahy. Bob, today is a good day to wear your winter jacket.
It is a great day to wear your winter jacket, bundle up, and it's going to be more like football weather at the Shorebirds game instead of baseball weather. It's going to be really cold and windy, so bundle up there. We're looking at some fog this morning, 6 miles visibility in fog in Georgetown, 5 in Salisbury, 6 in Ocean City. So watch for the fog. It'll clear out once the cold front comes through, and we could be looking at still maybe a little bit of drizzle out there with this cloud deck, but the steady and heavy rain has moved offshore. There's a cold front now pressing our way, and it will dry us out pretty quickly and really cold behind this. We've already got lake effect snow from Ohio up to upstate New York as that cold air is pouring in behind that cold front. 43 in Salisbury and Georgetown, 43 in Milton, 43 in Bethany Beach. Temperatures could dip for a little while into the 30s before they rebound a little bit as the northwest winds are beginning to pick up, and they're going to be howling today as the clouds clear out this morning, and you can see temperatures in the 30s and low 40s as we go through mid-morning as that cold air is funneling in. It's going to be a windy day too. Temperatures this afternoon only recovering into the mid to upper 40s, but feeling much colder with the wind. So bundle up on the ferry, going to the baseball game, anything outdoors. We're looking at temperatures pretty much steady in the lower 40s through 10 a.m. Those winds really kicking in later on. A lot of whitecaps out there as you head up to Cape May, and feels like temperatures in the 30s at times. So once again, bundle up.
Thank you, Bob. And as we also attempt to dry out, we are now taking a live look in Salisbury. Earlier, we had low-lying clouds. I think you can see some of those in the distance as we track some of the fog on Delmarva. But wet weather is moving out. It is leaving behind chillier conditions today.
Our top story this half hour, the Delaware General Assembly will be in session today. And the question this morning, will District 20 Representative Democrat Stell Parker Selby be in attendance? So far this year, she has not, even though the session of the General Assembly started in January. We were told Parker Selby was only sworn in weeks ago. This has created controversy. District 20, which covers Milton and parts of Lewis, has not had representation on votes in the House this year. In March, the Delaware Republican Party sent a letter to the House Democrat leaders to address Parker Selby's absence.
It was in November 2024. Parker Selby was reelected to the House for a second term. And here's what we know about her situation. After that, Parker Selby sent a letter stating she would not be present at Legislative Hall due to a medical event. Over 90 pieces of legislation have been voted on in the House in 2025, and Parker Selby has not voted on any of them.
Sussex County Council and Dewey Beach are continuing its partnership. According to the council's agenda today, officials could approve an updated memorandum of understanding. That document states that the county will give $1.5 million towards the construction of Dewey Beach's new town hall. In exchange, Sussex EMS will continue to lease out space of the town hall building. The county says that lease agreement lasts for 30 years and includes 3 designated parking spaces.
New lodging and rental taxes may be finding room in the city of Lewis. At a Monday night public hearing, city officials gave updates on 2 new accommodations taxes. One would be a 2% lodging tax on hotels. The other would tax short-term and long-term rentals at 5.5% and 5% respectively. City officials say the proposed taxes would give visitors a way to contribute to city funds. CoastTV went to Lewis to learn what people living there think about this, and here is what woman told us.
I don't think it's going to make a difference. People will pay what it costs. It's a very desirable place to come and visit. You know, it's a great community. There's a lot of history here.
No clear date yet set from the City Council on the decision, but the write-in comment period is open until May 2nd at 4 p.m.
Fenwick Island is considering a resiliency fund. According to the town's agenda, officials will discuss options at this morning's Infrastructure Committee meeting. Fenwick Island is no stranger to weather-related issues that could be addressed in a fund like this. In March, the town considered solutions to fight flooding, such as infrastructure ads and state funding. Officials will gather at the town hall at 10 a.m.
Happening tonight, Millville's Town Council could vote to approve its fiscal year 2026 budget. We've been reviewing it, got a copy of it here. Here's actually what we found. Overall, the budget calls for over $2.2 million in expenses. That's an increase of about $15,000 from 2025. In terms of dollars, the biggest increase is with payroll expenses. The proposed ambulance fee of $130,000. That's nearly $11,000 more than the current budget. Millville officials say they need more money. That is due to the increase in homes in the town, and the new budget must be finalized by the end of the month.
Seaford will present several important announcements at today's council meeting. According to the agenda, a new tenant is expected to be revealed for the Nylon Shopping Center. This will be a joint announcement with Mayor Matt McCoy and Rob Herrera with 9th Street Development. Also, the city says it will hold its municipal election on April 19th from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. 2 candidates are running for council. That's Jose Santos and current member Orlando Holland.
Now taking a live look at Washington, D.C., it's in that city on Monday that the Supreme Court says the Trump administration can temporarily use the Alien Enemies Act for deportation. It's a law that gives the government certain powers during declared wars as well as actual or threatened invasions or incursions.
The administration wants to use it to deport Venezuelan nationals it alleges are gang ties. As Amy Kiley shows us, a Supreme Court ruling Monday night doesn't decide the merits of that argument. It's more procedural.
This is a win for the Trump administration.
The Supreme Court is allowing deportation proceedings under the Alien Enemies Act for now, but with stipulations. The ruling throws out a U.S. district judge's order. President Donald Trump says on social media it's, quote, a great day for justice.
You can use these additional authorities, such as the Alien Enemies Act, to target these terrorist organizations.
But the Supreme Court says the men involved in the case can challenge the use of the Alien Enemies Act. They just have to do so in the district where they're detained. The justices say anyone facing deportation under the wartime law should have that opportunity. The ACLU calls that a victory. It comes after ICE sent alleged Venezuelan gang members to an El Salvador prison while legal challenges were still playing out.
They actually, as a practical matter, can get to the courts and not be whisked away in the middle of the night like was originally done in this case.
Another ruling from the Supreme Court yesterday involves a Maryland man erroneously deported to El Salvador. The justices say the U.S. doesn't have to bring him back for now.
That they can whisk someone out of the country by accident and then have no responsibility to fix, what they've broken just doesn't make sense as a legal matter and is also just disturbing as a matter of constitutional law.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
This just in, President Trump threatened to escalate his use of tariffs against China unless Beijing withdraws the retaliatory tariffs it imposed. If the president goes through with further hiking tariffs on the Chinese, it would mean the tariff rate would surpass 100%. Since U.S. exchanges opened on Monday, markets have been volatile, starting the day with further declines, recovering and then dropping again.
With China, as you know, against my statement, they put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
Instead of costs going down, which Donald Trump promised would happen on day one of his presidency, costs aren't going down, they're going up.
President Trump is adamant it's worth the pain to restore U.S. manufacturing and reshape global trade.
We have a lot more news to get to. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Maryland money concerns. We'll tell you how lawmakers address the budget deficit late into the night as the legislation is now over.
Also, Chomping Championship, how Florida rallied to win a title with players who are Governor's Challenge alumni.
Flood flash protections. We'll tell you how experts say you can stay safe from flooding and be prepared to face them. Stay with us on Coast TV News Today.
5:41 on our Tuesday morning. The rain has moved out, but it's a little foggy out there. You can see that on the Dry Tech camera right now. 44, not especially thick fog. In fact, the visibility is better in Georgetown at 6 miles, 5 in Salisbury, 6 in Ocean City. So watch for a little bit of fog, wet roads, and big puddles as we have temperatures in the low 40s. And we have the clouds beginning to break up now. Still maybe a sprinkle or two, but the heaviest rain is offshore as a strong cold front is coming in. Really cold air, lake effect snow to our north and west, and we're going to be seeing the cold and the wind behind that. But for the kiddos at the bus stop, watch for fog early on. 42, that should quickly lift with the cold front moving through. Breezy and chilly heading home. 47. Call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone, sponsored by Brockstead Mandalis Federico.
As Delmarva got showered with rain Monday, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management giving these tips on how to prepare for future flash flooding. MDEM says to always have an emergency kit that includes food, water, blankets, jumper cables. The agency says it only takes 6 inches of water to carry away an adult, and 12 inches of water can move a small car. They coined the phrase, just turn around and don't drown.
In Cambridge, road work is underway on US 50 between Bucktown Road and Austin Road. You can see that on your screen right now. MDOT says crews will work from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Drivers should expect single-lane closures while resurfacing takes place until June.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Yes, the Shorebirds return to DSN tonight for Delmarva's home opener. Let's preview the matchup over at Purdue. The Orioles Single-A affiliate opens a 6-game series against the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. It's the first of 25 home games we'll be bringing to your TVs this season. But please note, you cannot watch on the go on DSN+. This is strictly over the air to keep in accordance with MLB and MILB guidelines. First pitch tonight is set for 7:05, and our coverage against the Astros Low A affiliate begins at 7. The Nationals won an exciting one last night over the defending champions. Washington topped the Dodgers 6-4. James Wood homered in the win. Mackenzie Gore struck out 7 over 6 innings to pick up his first victory. And Kyle Finnegan recorded his 4th save. That's the most of any closer in the National League. Washington is now 4-6 on the year. Over to the hardwood, Florida men's basketball has won the national title. The Gators beat Houston 65-63 last night. 39-year-old head coach Todd Golden is the youngest head man to win it all since Jim Valvano back in 1983. And Salisbury men's lacrosse was tabbed #1 in the first NPI rankings of the year. The National Power Index is a metric used to help the selection committee seed schools come the NCAA tournament. The Gulls are 13-0 this season and have won 6 ranked games in the process. Next up, Mary Washington at 4 tomorrow. That's it for sports. Have a great day, everybody.
And coming up tonight on DSN, you just heard Tim talk about the home opener for the Shorebirds. They host the Woodpeckers. Then at 10:30, it is the final score. On the DSN Plus app, you get at 4:15. Actually, just a note there that first game, will, as Tim just said, will not be aired on the DSN Plus app, but you get these 3 contests. It's all high school action. 4:15, you can watch Tower Hill play Tatnall and boys lacrosse. 5:30, Henlopen Conference Girls Soccer when Sussex Tech hosts Delmar. Also at 5:30, Boys Lacrosse with Cape at home with Broadneck.
2 popular series, one on the big screen and one streaming, are wrapping up with a bang. David Daniel looks at both in today's Hollywood Minute.
Your team has been betrayed, Ethan. All your secrets compromised. Everything you are, everything you've done, has come to this.
Here's your latest look at Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the 8th and supposedly final film in the franchise that's made close to $4 billion worldwide, arrives in theaters May 23rd.
Dear Lord, no, not this again.
The Handmaid's Tale has brought back some familiar faces.
The costumes on the show really do a lot of the work. It's like cheating. And once I'm kind of zipped up and in Naomi's stilts with a giant bun. The heels really bring it home.
Who amongst us hasn't been tempted?
And introduce some new ones.
I hope that they feel that it ends, in a way that feels like it does service to, it does service to the story, but also feels correct. It feels right.
The 6th and final season of The Handmaid's Tale debuts today on Hulu. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
If you're having a rough week, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV with personal features, fun things to do each weekend, and more. You can sign up right now for free at coasttv.com and get your weekly dose of joy directly to your inbox on Friday.
As you can see on the Tidal Health Cam in Salisbury, wet roads, foggy conditions, big puddles. Take it slow out there. But the rain has moved out. The cold air will be moving in, and there will be wind with it today. Then protect your plants tonight, as we do have a freeze warning that goes into effect into Wednesday morning. I'll have your forecast details coming up in 2 minutes. Stay tuned.
The time is now 5:49, and we are taking a live look outside at Salisbury this morning. And Bob, it is cold out there. We see some people probably driving to work. You do need to be careful, though, those roads. We can see they're still a little slick. I had some fog driving in this morning, so just be cautious.
Yeah, we have some weather hazards. The heavy rain is over, Elisa, but we have the fog, wet roads, and large puddles. So just take it slow out there. But as we see a cold front sliding through today, we will quickly dry out. It's going to get breezy to windy. Those winds gusting over 35 miles per hour, and temperatures only staying in the 40s. Then tonight, protect your plants. We have a freeze warning into tomorrow morning with temperatures dipping into the 20s and 30s. More on that in just a moment. But 5 miles in fog in Salisbury, 6 in Georgetown and Ocean City. So make sure you use your low beam headlights. But then that fog will quickly move out probably in the next hour or two as that cold front moves through. And it looks like everybody's right around 43 degrees. We're hoping 42, 44 in Ocean City. So a couple of places a little different, but it's chilly out there, and the wind's starting to pick up out of the northwest, and they'll get really strong as we go into the day, already gusting up to 15 at the coast. As the clouds are starting to thin out, we're starting to dry it out, maybe a stray sprinkle or two, but the heaviest rain has now moved offshore after picking up well over an inch, close to 2 inches of rain, and now we're watching this cold front that's headed our way, and behind it, cold air that really means business. In fact, lake effect snow downwind of the lake in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. We're not going to see the snow, but the cold air and wind will be funneling in as Arctic high pressure is moving into the northern plains, and that high will slide close to us tonight, setting us up for that chance of a freeze. Here is Futurecast. Temperatures, I think, dipping into the 30s for a time this morning, and then rebounding into the 40s as it gets windy into the afternoon. By 4 p.m., temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, but with winds up to 35, 40 miles per hour, feeling much colder. Then those winds do start to relax as we go through the overnight hours, falling through the 30s into the 20s. So 20s and lower 30s as we go into tomorrow morning. And that's why you have to protect your plants. And then into Wednesday, still a chilly day, maybe around 50 in Salisbury and upper 40s elsewhere, and even colder inland areas. And then I think we could see another frost as we go into Thursday morning, as we're seeing gusting winds that are 30 to 35 miles per hour, close to 40 miles per hour today. Then they start to relax through the overnight. We do have a freeze warning across Sussex County, excluding coastal areas, but even there, I would bring the plants in. Also from Salisbury to Ocean Pines and the Eastern Shore, you also have this freeze warning through mid-morning tomorrow, as we have that long icicle indicating that hard freeze as we go into Wednesday morning, and still a chance of a frost as we go into Thursday morning. You want to protect your plants there. Then after that, we are out of the woods, so to speak. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. Windy and cold today, 48 down to 29 tomorrow morning, only 52 Wednesday with sunshine, 57 Thursday with late day showers. I think Friday's a rainy day, and Passover starts Saturday perhaps with some rain showers, 58. We'll be watching a storm offshore. It's going to send some showers and cooler air our way. 57 on Palm Sunday, hoping for drier conditions, then milder and drier on Monday.
Thank you, Bob. Happening now in Annapolis, Maryland lawmakers are working down to the wire on the last day of the 2025 legislative session. Lawmakers have adopted a budget that addresses the state's $3.3 billion budget deficit. It cuts $2 billion, also increases fees and taxes by nearly $1.7 billion. The upcoming session adjournment usually has a celebratory feel, but for some lawmakers, it's not the case this year.
I feel like it's not celebratory because I feel as though that in listening to the constituency, understanding the challenges that they're having, from the electric bill expenses, food expenses, to everyday life, that they are really going to take it even harder to have other things compounded upon it.
Some Eastern Shore legislators say they fear the state will also be in a deficit next year.
Watch for some fog out there this morning. We're seeing that in Dover, large puddles, wet roads, so take it slow. The rain is moving out and the cold is moving in. There will be a lot of wind with the cold today. And then tonight, protect your plants as we do have a freeze warning into tomorrow morning with more rain into the week into the weekend. I'll have your 10-day forecast coming up next.
It is 5:56 and it's time to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
We actually have pets today,
Oh,
Elisa. We have two very gorgeous greyhounds on your screen. That is Odin and Mama. And they were submitted to us by Irene and Lewis.
I see they're retired racing greyhounds. That's pretty cool. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That is where you'll find the QR code. If you just scan that, you can get your friends to us here, and then you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
And it's 5:56. We're going to take another quick look at your forecast.
We're trading Monday rain, Bob, for some Tuesday wind.
Yeah, that's right. The rain and fog moves out, and here comes the cold and wind as we go through the day. But watch for those wet roads, some fog this morning, and large puddles. And then we'll dry it out and dip down into the 30s and 40s, lower 40s for a time, and then windy the rest of the day. Only upper 40s later on. Sustained winds over 20 miles per hour, but gusting to 40 at times. Paul Davis, 10-day forecast. Look at that 29. That jumps out of freeze warning into tomorrow morning. Protect your plants. Sunshine Wednesday, 52. Warming up towards the end of the week. Rain later Thursday, and then Friday looks wet, and then heading into the weekend, kind of rainy heading into Passover, 58. Hopefully drying out for Palm Sunday, 57. And then it looks like up and down temperatures into next week, maybe up to 75 by Tuesday with partly cloudy skies.
Coming up in our next hour, Parker Selby saga. Will the District 20 Democratic representative take her seat for the first time in this session of the Delaware General Assembly? That and more when CoastTV News Today continues.
It is 5:56 and it's time to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
We actually have pets today,
Oh,
Elisa.
wow.
We have two very gorgeous greyhounds on your screen. That is Odin and Mama. And they were submitted to us by Irene and Lewis.
I see they're retired racing greyhounds. That's pretty cool. We want to see more of your pets on Delmarva. Send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
That is where you'll find the QR code. If you just scan that, you can get your friends to us here, and then you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
And it's 5:56. We're going to take another quick look at your forecast.
We're trading Monday rain, Bob, for some Tuesday wind.
That's right. The rain and fog moves out, and here comes the cold and wind as we go through the day. But watch for those wet roads, some fog this morning, and large puddles. And then we'll dry it out and dip down into the 30s and 40s, lower 40s for a time, and then windy the rest of the day. Only upper 40s later on. Sustained winds over 20 miles per hour, but gusting to 40 at times. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. Look at that 29. That jumps out of freeze warning into tomorrow morning. Protect your plants. Sunshine Wednesday, 52. Warming up towards the end of the week. Rain later Thursday, and then Friday looks wet, and then heading into the weekend, kind of rainy heading into Passover, 58. Hopefully drying out for Palm Sunday, 57. And then it looks like up and down temperatures into next week, maybe up to 75 by Tuesday with partly cloudy skies.
Coming up in our next hour, Parker Selby saga. Will the District 20 Democratic representative take her seat for the first time in this session of the Delaware General Assembly? That and more when Coast TV News Today continues.